Shannonville Motorsport Park, the birthplace of champions. I'm Frank Wood, and I'm here with Colin Fraser from Professional Motorsports Productions, and we are here for the final round of the Parts Canada Superbike Tour for 2005. This weekend also includes the Canadian Thunder class. And Colin Fraser, yesterday I think we had a real taste of things to come for this weekend, an extremely exciting heat race qualifier.
I think yesterday's heat race was a good indication of what we're going to see today, and we had James, who is our points leader on the Buell. He was deep in the battle for the lead yesterday. Of course, he has to keep in mind that he has to maintain that points lead, but he was not our winner. It was a Buell, but it wasn't Darren James.
You're right on that one. It was Bill Card once more. Bill on the Mackey's Harley-Davidson scored yet another win in the Canadian Thunder. I say that, he scored a very exciting doubleheader win up at Mosport, but Bill Card's effort this year all fell apart down east.
Well, Bill has been one of our top privateers in some of the other Japanese branded classes. He made a great impression in Buell, really has got the hang of the bike, and it's thrilling watching him because he rides it so aggressively, he leans it over. Came out of the doubleheader at Mosport, as you pointed out, leading in the points, went to Shubenacadie, and although we had terrific racing there, Bill wasn't part of it. Mechanical problems put him out early. He was super frustrated. Buell's continued to dominate. Darren James took that victory, his actual first national victory on the Thunder Tour. He comes here with that points lead, and of course, when you've got the points lead, the pressure is on, and you have to be careful. Do you race for the win, or do you make sure that you guarantee that title? And of course, the #1 plate nationally is a big honor for racers, and to be the first guy to win the National Thunder Championship, that's going to look good on the resume.
This class, Colin, the people at trackside are truly identifying with it. You know, all of a sudden people, for instance, on BMWs have something to cheer about. Chris Duff has been riding the wheels off the BMW out there, and he had a very creditable ride yesterday.
Chris Duff was looking good yesterday for probably a second row start. He stayed on the second row but ran off on the last lap. A lot of frustration for our front-running BMW rider. So we'll see how things shake out today, but it's looking like a 3 or 4 rider race for the lead. But there is a good mix of brands at the front of the pack, and of course next year we'll be getting some new models, some changes in the rules, and this is just sort of a start of what's coming. Of course, this is our first year nationally with the Thunder class. It's been around regionally for a while, but now we're going to start seeing the same kind of development we see in the other brand classes.
Well, Chris Duff on the BMW, Derek Vamis on the Ducati, and of course Darren James on the Buell as 3 examples of our Canadian Thunder riders. We had a chance to talk to a lot of the top riders earlier on.
After sitting out the last few seasons, former 125 and Pro 600 frontrunner Chris Duff is thinking about points and championship standings.
The best we can do championship-wise would be second overall. I mean, that would be fantastic for our first year here. I mean, I'm sitting at a bit of a disadvantage because we've got a motorcycle that is, you know, easily 100 pounds heavier than everybody else, and being shaft drive, we don't have sort of the gearing, you know, ratios that we can sort of change and play with to help with acceleration. So a lot of the defaults of the motorcycle I have to sort of overcome with riding ability and just, you know, good honest heart. And you know, it's been working well so far this year, but mathematically I think second overall is the best that we can do, and realistically speaking, I think if we can sort of be third or fourth, I think that would be fantastic for the weekend.
Starting 5th on the grid is Michael Leon, hailing out of Montreal, Quebec. Leon, the original member of the Diablo race team.
We've been struggling learning a new bike. This is our first season on a Buell. It's a little bit different to build than what I've been riding in the past. So we made some small little mistakes that have cost us and haven't really finished very many races, except some regionals, which we did well in. So we're looking forward to trying to do well at the last national and make our sponsors happy and maybe come back and run for a championship next year.
A front-running amateur at Shannonville 20 years ago, Rob Trottier has done some time road racing at West, and now he's back in the East and he's riding Ducatis for the 2nd year.
The Ducati is running really good. This is my first year on the 1000 Supersport. Before this, I've been racing the Monster, and I really like the Supersport chassis. It is such an underrated motorcycle, you wouldn't believe it. It goes where you want it to go. It's got a ton of torque. Basically, we haven't even opened up the engine all season.
A front row start for Buell Harley-Davidson rider Darren James out of North Vancouver, British Columbia. A rider that admitted to me before this race he's as nervous as a cat.
I'm going at it the same way I have every other race. We really want to win. Put the Buells on the box, myself and Bill. But I think with the math, I got to finish 4th or 5th if Derek Vamis wins the race tomorrow. So, but like most races, I've never really been in this position for a national championship, so I'm just riding to win.
Derek Vamis won our first ever Thunder National at Shannonville back in May, and he went to school during the heat race with those Buell riders.
They taught me a lot today. My Bremp Cycle Ducati is working awesome. It turns, it's the fastest bike at the apex. The Buells have a bit more torque and they're coming off the corners. They hit the apex slow, but then they stand the bikes like a super bike, get on the gas, and they're pulling away from me. So they're guarding the line a lot today. And normally in a heat race, I don't think they'd normally do that, but because my other sponsor, Brampton Chrysler, put up $1,000 for this heat race win, everybody was pretty desperate to win it.
You might want to have a look over here too. It's the SRT10 Viper with the Viper engine, pushing 505 horsepower, it's doing 10
505 horsepower.
So Corey's going to take this out for a little ride later with his 300, so we'll see how he does.
Can't hardly wait. Sitting on the pole and $1,000 richer for his efforts, Bill Card on the Mackie Harley-Davidson.
This is excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tomorrow looks good. The bike is running strong. We had an issue out in Shuby. I felt bad for everybody. We didn't finish that one, but we come back here. We're third in points. We gained a few more points today on them. Darren, he's running exceptionally well, so unless something happens to him, he's probably got the championship for Buell this year, but anything can happen out there, so hopefully I'll just put it up front, and if I do my job, we finish first tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens.
Here on a beautiful September summer's day at Shannonville Motorsport Park, Card takes the pole from Vamis, James our points leader, and Trache on the second Ducati. Row 2 headed by Leon, then the BMW Duck, and Spielberg's a top amateur from Vancouver who moved to Buell partway through this racing season. Moving on to rows 3 and 4, we have Thompson's, Dr. Steve Walker, Dale Wood, and Jamie Fitzgerald on row 3. Randy Hilliard-Martin, the only woman in the race who won a women's national here at Shannonville regionally. Rich Wilson, veteran on the Ducati, and Ian Frost on another Ducati 1000. Row 5 includes AJ Simiana and Patrick Barnes. These two were involved in an incident in our heat race yesterday and didn't finish the event. That's why they're at the back. Barnes in particular has missed most of the season, but is expected to show well with his Ducati, the Isle of Man veteran, one of the fast guys.
Isle of Man, Daytona, Cycle Canada, Greg's Garage. Barnes has been all over the map in terms of popularity this year. Let's watch this start now as we wait for the Dunlop lights to turn green. They have done so, and the trigger has been pulled. It looks like Trache. It is Trache who has gone into the lead with Card following closely behind in second spot. We're trying to pick up on the third place runner. I believe it's James. Darren James is running in third spot.
James doing what he needs to do. Third will give him the title, but there's Vamis, his arch rival, right behind him. So this one is not done by any means yet. Trache from fourth on the grid. Beautiful hole shot.
Oh, Trache has gotten that Ducati off in style. Going through turn 1, he had a noticeable lead on the exit of turn 1, and as they headed into turn 2, you saw it as we watched James starting to move up. It looks like Trache is going for a romp here. He's starting to get some serious distance here, and I'm not entirely sure if this was expected.
Trache, remember, was one of our favorites, but he crashed in practice for the opening national, badly injured his hand, missed part of the season, so it's been a bit of a tough go for him. As you can see, we're closing up, and it's Bill Card seems to be the man on the move, and that's what we expected. He was spectacular.
Vamis is the man on the move. Vamis is the man on the 44 machine. He has moved into third spot. He has shunted Darren James down into fourth place, and Darren James does not want to be in fourth place.
James can probably live with fourth, but the problem is Vamis is on the move, and Vamis is the guy who can spoil things up at the front. It's a little early to be doing the math, but you can bet that James is already. He wants that title.
Trache with the race lead as they start off down the Fabi straightaway. Bill Card running in second spot. Again, Trache does seem to have a little bit of a cushion there. We watched Card as he moved up closely at the hairpin, but again, the Ducati's got legs on that straightaway.
This is Trache's last chance to win a national this year. He has been in contention, but hasn't come through. Remember, the only Ducati rider to win so far is Vamis. Trache certainly comfortable here at Shannonville. He cut his teeth way back when on a Yamaha RD.
Trache with the race lead, but all over him now is Bill Card. Card coming down through Allen's corner is right on the back bumper of Trache, and Trache no doubt will be getting pit signals to inform him of that Buell rider's presence. Looks like Card has a look to the inside. And on the exit of turn 1, Trache holding tough, but look at the animated style of Card, and there goes Card to the inside. Card has stuffed the Mackey's Harley-Davidson sponsor Buell right on the inside, and do we have a return pass happening here? Not quite enough drive for the Ducati rider. Trache now in second spot.
Trache almost made a move back underneath in turn 2. Look at him inside of 4. Boy, Trache is going all out here. He knows he has a shot at the win, and when you're running with Bill Card in this class, you are definitely at the hot pace.
Well, you know, Vamis talked about those Buells guarding the line. Now that we have a Buell out front, we'll see whether there is some guarding of the line out there. Card with the race lead.
Here we have the replay on the pass. Square up his shoulders, lots of body weight on that front tire to give it lots of traction. He dives underneath, looks like an easy pass, and you know why? Trotier's trying to button hook it around, pick the line back up. Trotier almost made the repass, and here he is stuck right on the tail of Card.
We talk about the racing line and the two distinctly different racing lines of these two brands of motorcycles. The Ducati with the big sweeping, and we've got some action happening up at the hairpin corner. Again, a pass by Vamis. He has moved to the inside of Trotier, and he has made it stick. Now we have Vamis up in the second spot. Card is running in first place, and this sheds an entirely new light on this situation with James back and forth and Vamis threatening for the lead.
Vamis marching towards the front. He needs to win to have any shot at the championship. He seems to be doing what needs to be done. He's approaching this smoothly. Lots of warmth in those tires now. The question is, will Trotier take the spot back? Remember, these guys are both on Ducatis, but everybody's in it for themselves.
Remember also that Trotier and Vamis have also had a lot of seat time here at Shannonville. Vamis is a former Battle of the Twins champion, and as you mentioned, Trotier has been competing here for over 20 years, so these veterans know this racetrack.
But it's hard to argue with the style of Card. Always fun to watch him ride as Vamis is having a look to see if there's an outbreaking opportunity. And he ran it in really deep in turn 2. Took pretty much the entire lead away from Card. So Card isn't the only guy quick in the second turn.
Card that time around taking the line away from Vamis. That's exactly what Derek Vamis talked about. You notice Card that time around used the big swooping line. And this time it's Vamis that has a look to the inside, but no room there.
Vamis on the tail of Card. He needs the pass. He needs to try and win this. He also needs to stir things up at the front to try and get some stuff happening. He can't afford to have anyone fall, though. If James moves up any further, James is guaranteed the title. Even now where James sits, he's in a pretty safe location, but the race ain't over yet.
Well, you can bet your bottom dollar you have an inspired Derek Vamis here. He won the opener, and Vamis has gone to the inside. Derek Vamis has made the pass on Bill Card. Unbelievable stuff. Vamis, we were just speaking about it. Now Trotier has been dragged along into the fight. Trotier into second, now back into third as Card fights back. We have got a fist fight on our hands here, and the gloves are off.
Vamis definitely surprised Card, and of course Trotier took advantage when Card bobbled just for a second. Then you see James looking on the inside, things getting much more competitive. We aren't even halfway, and it is true, the gloves are off and everybody's pushing a lot harder. The lap times are coming down, and obviously the catalyst for all this is Derek Vamis.
Pardon my drama here, but here you have the makings of a championship. If we stop the race right now, Vamis is the champion and James is not. Drama, unbelievable stuff here now, and Vamis looks like he might be getting just a little bit of a distance between himself and Card. But having said that, look at Card stand that mule up on its front wheel coming into Allen's corner, heavy on the front brakes.
Card is a guy who can really cover a lot of distance in a short period of time. He really carves through when the time comes. Here you can see he's right back on the tail of Vamis. Both of these guys are super strong on the brakes in turn 2. Let's wait and see what plays out this time.
Look at the animated riding style of Bill Card. You know, within the crowd you will find brand loyalist fans who like the Ducatis, the BMWs, and the Buells, but Bill Card has rapidly become a fan favorite because of that riding style. He is definitely an animated rider.
Ducatis are fairly conservative in their geometry, a more traditional motorcycle. The Buells are much more aggressive, shorter wheelbase, less rake and trail, and boy, that setup seems to suit Bill Card. He is so comfortable pushing that bike, and it is fun to watch. You can connect with him just based on watching him throw that Buell around.
Well, as we watch these Buells and Ducatis battling it out the front four, 2 Ducatis, 2 Buells, I can't help but wonder where the BMW is. The number 6 rider, Chris Duff, I truly had anticipated seeing that Motorrad BMW in the front-running group.
Duff definitely was closer yesterday in the heat. He had some issues on the brakes. He may be a little more conservative today. Remember, it is the last round. Everybody's thinking about consolidating their points. Of course, no one's thinking about consolidating their points any more than our championship front runner, and he's sitting 4th in this little festival of fun. The guys have calmed down, not nearly as scary as they were in this turn last lap.
He has been a regional champion in Canadian Thunder Racing here in Canada. Oh, and down goes Trotier! Trotier has been fly-swatted to the ground at the hairpin turn, lost traction coming out, hooked up, and fly-swatted the number 14 rider to the ground.
That was a scary incident for Trotier. Meanwhile, these guys have no idea that's occurred. It's opened up a bit of a gap between 2nd and 3rd. This again has championship implications. Why? Because it means James is under no pressure. He's a safe 3rd right now. And look at this, Card's coming again.
Card is such a hard pusher. The people at Mackey's Harley-Davidson are absolutely delighted with that young man hailing in from Wellesley, Ontario. We watched this kid coming up through the amateur ranks in the Race Super Series, and he has blossomed into a true great contender, and I think we got a great champion on our hands in the future.
I've been waiting for some drama on the brakes coming up in turn 2. Hopefully one of them will do something exciting this time.
It's drama time as Bill Card moves to the inside, takes the lead away from Derek Vamis. Vamis to the inside now, and he's back into the lead, but Card comes back. Now Card is back in the lead. Unbelievable. Oh, red flag in the background here. We have got problems, and I suspect it's Trotier's crash.
Going to the slow motion with Rob Trottier at the hairpin. There he is on the far left, gets on the throttle as hard as he can, a little too hard, spins the back end, catches it, but he gets pitched to the ground, landing on his shoulder and his head. The Ducati goes sliding in the runoff, and that one looked like it hurt.
And there's another look at Bill Card's pass as he takes it on the inside of Derek Vamis. A very nicely executed pass by Card. Unfortunately, that move into the lead affected by the red flag.
That doesn't count. Derek Vamis will start from our restart on pole. Card is second, James a safe third. Michael Leon moves up to fourth with the departure of Trottier. Spielberg's in fifth. Meanwhile, we look at the rest of the grid. Walker, Duff back in ninth. Wilson, Fitzgerald, Dale Wood, Randy Hilliard-Martin, Ian Frost complete our starting grid for the restart of Thunder.
And the restart, of course, we'll watch the Dunlop starting lights to turn green and find out who gets off the line first in this instance. A restart on this one, a national championship final off the line, and it looks like it might be Bill Card. It isn't. It is Michael Leon. Now remember, Leon inspired, running in fourth place when we last saw him, having won a race Super Series. Here comes Card now to the inside, and here comes Vamis. Vamis to the inside of Card and Leon. So we have had three different riders in the lead of this race in the first 200 yards. Vamis leading.
And there you saw Vamis cut right over on Card, took the line away, looking to do a little blocking. These guys are still side by side.
They are swapping paint at spots. I'm sure they're getting very, very close coming into the corner there. It looked like Card playing a bit of a gentleman there as he let Vamis through. And Michael Leon definitely in the hunt here on the Buell. So now we have a Ducati up front, a Buell running in second spot, and a Buell running in third.
And you got to think Darren James, yeah, there he is in fourth. A little worried about all this pushing and shoving. The guys are having a lot of fun, but James cannot afford to get tangled up in anything.
That is for sure, and these riders almost seem to be swapping paint at points here as they run extremely close in the corners. Here now comes Vamis with the race lead. And a pass by James. James has overtaken Michael Leon as they came towards the camera there. James has moved into third spot, and that is where he'll be calculating his championship points from.
Vamis doing what he needs to do, but James in third should be enough to take the title. Look at that, Chris Duff on the BMW up to sixth. Much better on the restart than in our first go-around, Frank.
Duff, who has been such a hard charger in 125 racing over the years, and as you mentioned in 600 Super Sport as well, that's unfamiliar territory, but Duff also realizes that next year there'll be more BMW horsepower to deal with.
There are some class rules changes coming up. There's going to be some readdressing of the specs, but right now Derek Vamis is concentrating on his 1000 Super Sport, and he's doing a really good job with that V-twin Ducati.
Such great contrast here between these two riders. Vamis, who is so smooth and exacting in his lines, and James, or make that Bill Card, I should say, running in second spot now, who is almost athletic, and as I've commented, animated, hanging off that motorcycle is over a 125.
And here we head to turn 2, where everything's been happening on the brakes. It's been all action. Are we ready again, Frank?
Oh, I don't know about this one. These guys have had my fingernails bitten down to the quick at times, I'll tell you. Canadian Thunder has been a great success story within the Canadian road racing scene. I think John Hopkins of Inside Motorcycles said it best when he commented that it had brought an exciting new sound and a new light to Canadian road racing.
It's good to watch Vamis here. He ran it in really deep there in 2. He was expecting something from Card. He did the best thing you can do. You don't block, you just run in as hard as you possibly can. He's probably wondering where Card is because he hasn't seen him yet. And of course, Bill Card has not been patient in his overtaking maneuvers. However, he's made a couple little mistakes, so Card may be settling in, figure out the pace, let the heat get into the tires, and not rush it maybe as much as they did in the first portion of this race.
Card, of all the riders on the track right now, is the man pushing the hardest. There's no question about that. He's using up every bit of the racetrack and then some. Card, again, hanging off the motorcycle, trying to take that line away from Vamis. The idea, of course, is to get in front of the Ducati and then take those long sweeping lines away. Now out of the hairpin turn for a long run down the back straight of the Fabway. Oh, off the racetrack goes Card. Card was right off the racetrack, and Vamis was watching him the whole time.
Here we have the slow motion. Watch Bill Card, the second bike. He's using all the track, bumps off the curb, wheelies feet on the ground, grabs the shift, calms right down. Doesn't lose that much time, but you can bet that got his attention, got his pulse up a little bit, Frank.
Well, I don't think Vamis knew what was happening behind him. Here comes Card again. Card hard on the brakes. My goodness gracious, he'll have no front tire left when this race is done. Card unbelievable on the brakes coming into Allen's corner there. and now exiting turn 14 as he'll take yet another drive. You can see the pit crews on the pit wall cheering on. You can bet the riders from the Mackey's Harley-Davidson squad are cheering on Bill Card as he'll take yet another run at Vamis, this time to the inside. Will he make it stick? He's made it work this time around.
And we were talking about Card being gentlemanly. That time he waited on the pass to block Vamis's chance to duck underneath. Very shrewd tactical racing. Blocked a good line that has worked for Vamis in the past. Now you can see Card swinging out wider, just as you predicted, Frank, using more of the track, using more of the Ducati lines. This might be the blocking that Vamis was talking about in his pre-race interview.
We have often talked about riders going to school on other riders and learning from them. I would suggest to you that this year has been a very much a learning experience for Bill Card. Watch again as he takes the inside line away from Vamis.
And see, Vamis turns, Card then jams it underneath. Vamis doesn't have any choices because Card has taken the line. Vamis wants to go underneath, but this time Card has decisively moved in front. Remember, a couple of previous passes didn't quite pan out that cleanly.
Well, again, Card with your race lead now, and it looks like he's starting to get a little bit of distance between himself and the Ducati rider Derek Vamis. We pick up on Darren James now as he's fallen slightly off the pace, and they head back onto the Fabi straightaway for this run on lap 8.
Good to see that Bill Card managed to get out of the hairpin cleanly without doing any motocrossing. Not maybe as dramatic and fun, but safer and more predictable. I think we're going to see Vamis will hang in there. He'll try and keep the pressure up. On the other hand, James, safe third, no need to push it, take it easy, and these laps are long. Now we look back to 6th, Chris Duff on that BMW twin, pushing through some of the tighter parts of the track. Not the best suited to the BMW because of those protruding cylinder hits, and definitely Chris Duff is one of the people who's looking forward to an upgrade in machinery with the new BMWs rumored to be arriving next year.
Canadian Thunder has attracted a few of our veteran riders, and Chris Duff would definitely be counted amongst those riders. Duff very, very smooth and very precise in his cornering technique.
Speaking of smooth and precise, watch Derek Vamis as he chases down our leader, Card. He's lost a little bit of time, but he is not easing the pace. And look at Card. He knows the pace is there. He got it on his pit board that the second place bike is still close because he has not slowed down one little bit.
I could be off base on this, but I think Card is running for money, Vamis is running for prestige, and James is counting the points.
I think James is running for that big number 1 they hand you on the podium when you take a national championship.
Well, you know yourself that at this point in the race, that Darren James right now can hear every tappet in that motor here. He can hear every sound, and he's hoping that this Buell will finish this race. That'll be the prime concern that he has right now. No one challenging him, and he with no challenge for the leaders.
And we've seen this happen before when you're safe in the position you need to be, and you're right, Frank, you hear all these funny noises on the bike, you start imagining all kinds of problems, you start thinking a lot more than you're used to. When you're busy in a race with another guy, you don't have a lot of time to reflect on the status of your tires and your engine and so on and so forth. But James all alone in third, maybe close enough to watch some of this battle, but he's just trying to ride at a turn, a lap at a time, and get to the checkered flag ASAP.
The pressure on James definitely self-inflicted, no question about that. If there is pressure on Bill Card, it's going to come from Derek Vamis, and it's going to come in the next couple of laps here. As this race winds down, Vamis, or make that Card rather, bringing it off the straightaway, and Vamis, I'm sure, very short. There he is now as we pick him up coming into the S's now. They'll bring it down into Allen's, and this is one part of the racetrack where Card has been at his best.
You could see Card riding the front end. Very unusual front brake setup on that Buell, and he uses it to full advantage. Vamis is close enough to threaten. We're going to get our pit board here. It's the last lap, so everybody knows where they stand. They have under 2 minutes to make a move, and Card has not slowed, but he has smoothed it out a little bit, and Vamis is going to be hard-pressed to make a move. Remember, we've seen a lot of passing here in turn 2. Vamis is just a little bit too far back to have an effect.
It almost sounds like a contradiction to say Bill Card smooth. Card, who has been so animated in his riding style, so athletic, so brave on the brakes, who has made that Buell squirm underneath him, now is riding on Ducati lines and in Ducati style. Very smooth indeed. Put a dime on the track and Card will run over it.
Vamis staying close though. In fact, I think if anything, he's maybe taken a couple of tenths away in those last few turns. Vamis is fighting the good fight. He knows that Card could make a little mistake. Card's race has not been perfect so far. And yeah, look at that. Vamis has definitely closed it up. I'm not saying he's going to be ready to pass, but he's definitely pouring on the pressure.
If anyone can do it, Vamis can do it. Watch now as they approach the hairpin. That is where Vamis is truly at his best. That is where Vamis won the opening national race in this series way back in May when it all started. Vamis Vamis was the one who took first blood. He broke the lap record in the process, passing 2 riders in the hairpin. And there again, if it's going to happen, it'll happen right here.
And we need Card to make a mistake if this is going to be close. Let's see how smooth he is putting the power down on his 60-degree air-cooled V-twin. Nope, no problem. And look, he had a good look behind him. He knows the status of his pursuer, doesn't look too threatened, and knows he only has a few turns left to go.
Card, under no pressure at all right now, had 2 long, hard looks at Vamis. He knows full well that there's no need to get down below that plexiglass to make yourself quite so small this time around, but you gotta hand it to Vamis. He is definitely making this thing interesting.
Just a couple of turns to go. Bill Card riding it hard into Allen's as always, and now we're going to watch that run to the line.
The run to the line for Bill Card. Checkered flags are being ready now as he brings out Chris Chappelle from the Race Super Series, and the win goes to Bill Card. Second spot to Derek Vamis on the Ducati, and third spot and the National Championship in Canadian Thunder to number 229, Darren James. There is James as he celebrates. He is one happy rider right now, and pulling up alongside Olivier Spielberg, the other rider in from the left coast, in from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Thunder round 5 in the books. Bill Card confirmed as our winner. That's some rev limiter burnout. Derek Vamis a good second from James. Leon up to 4th after a tough season. Spielberg joins the tour late with 5th. Duff 6th on the top BM. Dan Thompson. Pat Barnes moving all the way up from the back of the grid on his Ducati. Steve Walker and Rich Wilson complete our top 10 in Thunder.
All season we were consistent. We were not, the ones on top of the box every time, but on the box all season regardless. And consistency is the name of the game to win a championship. So it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, just pulling back and sitting there in third and watching the hell of a show that Derek and Bill put on. I knew what I had to do, and for once, racers I don't think are known for being real smart. So I really tried to wisen up and just hang back a little bit. What can I say? A national. It's not a regional championship. It's a national championship.
In the second start, I got a great start. I've raced here for years. It doesn't matter where I come off the line because I'm going to whale through one. I had them all by turn 2. We went nuts, and I have my bike sideways everywhere in dangerous places. In turn 5, it's so fast. I was sideways. One time through the chicane, I was all over the place over the curb. I saw Bill behind me once. I don't know why I'm looking back, but just need Ducati to step it up. I'm looking at hopefully some big help from Brampton Chrysler for next year, and we're going to kick their butts.
Michael Leon on their second restart got a good hole shot there, and I got him on the brakes going into 1. Then there was Derek on the inside, so I had to tuck back inside him, and then it was back to another little dash for cash again for this race. But Derek, man, he rode his heart out. He wasn't giving it to me for nothing, so I had to work for it today. There's a couple spots I was a little bit quicker on them. These Buells, you can just lay them right over and they go. But congratulations to Darren for winning the championship. He ran a great race, a smart race, and took the championship, and that's what it's all about.
3 regional titles were perfect preparation for Thunder National title number 1. Darren James does the business from Card. Vamis, Chris Duff on the first BMW, and Steve Walker, our doctor in consultation, bringing his BMW 5th. Rob Trottier is 6th, even though he missed 2 rounds. Fitzgerald, Thompson, Wilson, and Hilliard Martin, top woman in 10th. Now let's check back in at the podium.
First Canadian Thunder National Championship trophy to give to Darren James, and James will also get the number 1 plate to affix to the top of that gear. Darren, congratulations on being the Canadian Thunder Series champion one more time. He's got the number 1 plate, he's got the trophy, and now we're going to do a great big kiss for his wife, Caroline.
Can't be any more than ecstatic and barely be able to put it to words. The Dealey Harley-Davidson Canada Buell ran awesome all season. We were second, third, second, first, and third again. So consistency is the name of the game. Hopefully this class is just going to grow and grow into more than 2, 3. We'll be around for quite some time. So I'm real happy to be number 1. Like, all regional stuff is great, and all regional racers know, like, you won your first championship, but to get in there with the national guys and get some recognition is, just a dream come true.
Congratulations to all of our front runners in the inaugural Canadian Thunder National Championship Series.